Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the counselor's office. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor, and boy, oh boy, was I surprised and yet not surprised by the fact that here we are in 2024, and we're still going backwards when it comes to Bungie. Yes, they came out and gave more information about the changes coming to Revenant, and one of them is that we're returning back to power levels. Yeah, you know how it used to be you did an expansion and then you didn't have to worry about the grind that players complained about for years because it's boring and it's anti-gamer, and all it is just a way to retain players. Hey, Phil! Hey, Phil! We have a dramatic decrease in players. Yeah. Player morale definitely low. Look at the Steam charts. Can you look at? Yeah. Phil, check it out. The retention is incredibly low. How do we bring back players? Oh, you know what? Flip them off. Tell them we don't hear you, and we're going to go do the one thing that players have been hateful of, have hated since its inception. We're going to bring back power grind. That's right, because people love doing that every season. It's so much fun, isn't it? At this point, I feel like, you know, Sony's PlayStation Concord game is dead. But I feel like Bungie has been dead for a while, and it's just a rotting corpse. And there is someone who's actively sabotaging Destiny, or trying to actively sabotage, because no one... Literally, I understand now why Sony is saying, hey, get your head out of your ass, because their head is in their ass. I don't know a single person who's like, oh man, this is such a great change. Yep, so much fun. Everyone loves that. Everyone loves that. This week in Destiny, you're watching how Bungie can immediately kill hype for the next episode. It's a speed run. Bungie already won the world's first speed run for nerfing an exotic that was just released, but now we're going to do a world's first speed run of ruining any hype for your next episode. Good job, Bungie. Now, I do want to say there are some W's in this week, but this is just such a negative thing, and it is part of the overall in-game experience. No one wants this. Not only that, but let's just take a side that Sony has gotten onto Bungie for the new player experience or returning player experience, anyone's experience in general. And this is just immediately making people sigh. Like, why? This is not pro gamer. This isn't making people like, hey, man, I really want to grind out levels again. That's fun. Yay. Listen, I'm not going to say I'm going to AFK farm, because that would get me banned. But I'm going to find every feasible way to cheese levels with the artifact. Absolutely, I will do everything in my power to cheese. Everything in my power. That is obviously within the code of Bungie that I can't get banned for. But I will absolutely find every freaking way to cheese that I don't have to play this game longer than I have to. Anyways, this week in Destiny, we're going to skip ahead. They are essentially summarizing this for your beautiful faces. September 25th, we're going to get another blog talking about Frontiers again. We're going to see what's going to be. The developers apparently are going to talk to us. Are we sure they're not in cages? Also, which developers is it the ones that are actively sabotaging Destiny and gave us, like, I don't want to listen to the people who made episode 1. They're absolute garbage. So please put on the people that are going to try to save this game. Please get them out of their bird cages and set them free so they can save this game. Upcoming reward changes. On the launch of Revenant, October 8th, they are making changes to essentially you can earn non-adept Nightfall weapons a little easier. That's right. It is a guaranteed you get a normal Nightfall weapon on Master, which makes sense. If you get immediately platinum, if you get platinum for Grandmaster, you automatically get Adept. It should be the same thing for Master. If you do gold and platinum on Master, you should automatically get the normal gun. Like, I think that's fair. That's a fair assessment. And then they made gold on Master a 50% chance. I think these are net benefits. I think overall some of the loot has been very mid and very undesirable, which has kept me from actually farming. I don't think I've really farmed any Grandmasters this episode because the weapons are just bad. They're just bad. Nothing absolutely, like, none of the weapons bad, but the perks are god awful. In addition, they are going to make where you can actually get the featured weekly weapon in its own slot. So for the normal base gun, it's going to be one Vanguard weapon, engram, and then one Nightfall Cypher. I don't know how I feel about that, because right now you can just use Vanguard engrams to just, if you've already picked up the gun, you can just continue to get it. So I don't know who this is benefiting, because to my acknowledgement, Nightfall Ciphers you can only get from Grandmaster, right? So are they making Night Ciphers fall like random drops? Now that I think about it, I read this and I didn't think about it, but you get Nightfall Ciphers for Grandmaster. Can you get them from Master too? I don't know. I've never done anything below Grandmaster, to be honest. Unless I'm running like experts for a thing. But outside of that, like I don't. If I LFG, it's going to be Grandmaster. Weekly featured is all the same. This episode, they did drop it to 1 after it was like 5 or 3 or something bullcrap. Like this garbage. And then they added the 50 Glimmer. Whatever. I mean, most of the time, this is just like 10 is egregious. Like, who is this for? Let's be honest. Like, you might as well just make it to where you can only hold 1 at a time and just make it to where it's one each, because that's effectively what it is. Like, you get the cap is 10 and you only get 1 gun. So it's like, it feels pointless. It's such a useless mechanic. All right, Lost Sectors. Now, this is a W. I will say this is a W, and it should have been a thing from the get-go. How it is now is that Lost Sectors have, you can farm world drops. Now, they're adding the new ones immediately into it for that season, which should have been the thing from the get-go, because most people don't care about previous. Like, that is a good retention farm. Like, hey, I want to farm some new weapons. I want to get this new god roll. I don't want to have to wait till next season to farm for it. At least now they're being smart and they're actually doing something pro retention that's pro gamer. Gamers want loot. Now they have something to farm. This is a W. It's baffling that it common sense would say, hey, put the new stuff in there already, so it gives people the reason to play this episode and not next. I don't know. Power band increase. Yeah, we already talked about it. They're really mentally challenged. Bungie really wants to kill their game. They're trying so hard. Titans are actually getting, this is a huge dub, by the way. The Titans are finally more than just using their fist. Now you get to be an actual defender. You get to be the biggest of boys and defend the world. No longer do we rely on the Warlocks and the rifts and the healing nades, though we probably still will. We now have a true defender, Captain America in the flesh. They're changing it to where barricades now taunt. We're actually getting MMO play styles. Who would have freaking thought we'd be in this? It took 10 years, but here we are. We're actually getting some basic MMO features like a taunting mechanic. We're actually getting a taunting mechanic. Holy crap. Better late than dead, I guess. Better late than dead. Yeah, so they're changing the class identity up. So you're gonna want banners a lot more. Super ability changes, general tuning. They're changing a lot of stuff. So a lot of this is happening in Revenant. Unbreakable Will. So this is essentially with the explanation. they are going adding the taunt mechanic. They're increasing this. Let's get to the actual changes. They're increasing how much health you have, essentially, like durability, non-boss combatant damage. You have 50% reduction. That means you're going to be able to take more damage, and they're actually going to aggro. They're not going to be like randomly shooting and hit. They're going to be targeting your banner as long as someone is behind it. If you're behind it, they're actually going to shoot it. They're decreasing like the splash damage. You're going up to 60%. Thank God. One of the worst things in PvE about Titan barricades was the fact that the splash damage will just kill you. Like, I don't know how many times something just splashes and you just die in a Grandmaster. We'll see how good it is. We'll see. Now they also grant moderate damage resistance during cast animation. I don't like that they're not actually giving us a number or a percentage, because if you're like trying to put up a barricade and you get sniped, are you just going to get one shot? I don't know. Unbreakable. Damage blocked by Unbreakable now generates grenade energy. Makes sense considering you have to use your grenade in order to use it, the defensive thing. Increased max duration, the shield can be held. Forward movement speed now slows down briefly when the shield is shot. Reduce Unbreakable's throw attack damage versus players by 20%. Obviously to compensate for some of the changes. That's PvP, that's fine. Increase damage bleed through from players by 15%. Okay. Fully charged Unbreakable attacks will now one-shot barricades in PvP, except when the barricade is under the effects of Heart of Inmost Light. Okay. While we're here on Unbreakable and Titans, we should mention Overshield. This is a staple of Sentinel Kit. We think it could use a little help in PvE because it's god-awful, yes. Void Shield increased Void Shield PvE damage resistance from 50 to 70%. This increases the maximum HP from 90 to 150. Finally, Overshield, Titans, rejoice in PvE. You're not a joke anymore. You actually have a reason to run. Next up, Prismatic Titans. They are doing all the benefits are crossing over to Prismatic, but you're getting us some other benefits such as Scorch Slam Wave now shatters stasis crystals. Diamond Lance now shatters stasis crystals. Slamming now grants you 2 stacks of frost armor. Change the weapon tray HUD to display how many seconds are remaining before the lance disappears like a tangle. Knockout. Melee kills now cancel health and shield stun. In addition, healing allows you to immediately start regeneration. Note, this is a revert a previous nerf that had too much of a negative impact on PvE. Who would have thought when you nerf something in PvP and you bleed over to PvE, you're gonna make people not give a crap? Wow. It's almost like we should have separate sandboxes, which they do, but they don't do it all the time for some magical reason. Shiver Strike now attaches a stasis explosive to the target on impact. That's huge. This detonation slows players and freezes combatants. Ooh, now refunds 80% on a whiff. Okay, that's good. That feels nice. If you're like doing a slam and for some reason the targeting just says screw you, you at least get you get like 80% of that, so you're not waiting too long to punch something. Increase energy recharge rate by 12.5%. Immediately after landing a Shiver Strike attack, the attack's melee ability is now suppressed for... Oh, the attacker's melee ability is now suppressed for 0.45 seconds. Okay. So if you're being attacked, I guess that's to keep it balanced in PvP. While not specifically a Prismatic Titan only option, we know they felt the nerf the most when passive commands cooldown was moved to 11 seconds. We agree, and 11 seconds feels too long. Facet command Echo of Domineering cooldown reduced from 11 seconds to 4 seconds. Like, what are we doing? You know what? Revert the nerfs. Like, they nerf things, then they revert it because they realize people don't like it, and then they leave, and they're like, hey, we're gonna make things actually playable. Cool. Alas, the Titan buff train approaches its final destination. There's more. That's right. Titan unpowered melee. Damage against players by 5%. Increased damage against PvE combatants by 20%. Increased stun multiplier, which will have no effect on anything where it has the modifier. It's harder to stun enemies, which is most endgame. Unlimited power. We're talking about supers. Warlock and Storm Trance increased resistance from 53 to 58%. Chaos Reach 45 to 55. There was issues where it wasn't jolting at high range frame rates. Chaos Reach wouldn't go through Sentinel's Guard or Citizen's Barricade. Nova Warp, they just continue to buff it in PvE by 20%. I don't know if this will move the needle. You're asking people to waste their time with a moving super, especially when Solar exists, and throwing a Nova with Star Eaters is significantly better of your time. And I think that's the problem with roaming supers. I think roaming supers should have separate times in both PvE and PvP. I think PvE, you should be able to cancel it at will, retain a certain amount of your super, and you should be able to have a long duration. Because if you're going to use it, you might as well use it for like crowd control and stuff like that. Like if you're going to roam, use it for ad clear, because you're not going to use it for like, you're not using Chaos or Nova Warp against a boss or a raid boss 9 out of 10 times. So go buckham, make it feel good to use it for mini bosses and champions and crowd control. Like, what are we talking? I don't see a world where roaming supers will ever be better than one-off supers. I'm sorry. I said it. Hunter, Golden Gun, they're buffing it against base enemies, elites, and mini bosses. Okay, 30%. Spectral Blades, again, another roaming super that will probably never see the night of day because Golden Gun exists. And then the Arc Staff exists. And Strand exists, which Strand is one of those ones that really do a lot of damage and has a very long reach. Like, talk about when it comes to reach, the reach of Hunter Strand is just nuts. Increased resistance from 47 to 58%. Titan, Glacial Quake. Howl of the Storm can be used while Glacial Quake is active. Twilight Arsenal has been getting multiple buffs. Projectiles now more consistently track. Increased Twilight's relic damage versus combatants by 23%. Thunder Crash. Base detonation damage by 33%. Now, again, this is what we're talking about. Like 33%. Ooh. I think Thunder Crash might be back on the table, boys, for Titans. Fist of Havoc. Increased damage resistance from 51 to 58. Change how the light attack works under the hood to improve consistency hitting targets. Slightly increased light attack lunge range. You will never see this in PvE. I'm sorry. The kit is mid, and you're never going to see this in PvE. For Act 2, we're investigating increasing roaming super uptime. So, hey! There he is. So they're more available when you need them. Stay tuned. Yeah, I think for PvP, people are terrified. But for PvE, this absolutely needs to be a thing. Like, I think Bungie needs to accept that roaming supers will never be the choice when it comes to damage. You need to treat them as, like, the ad clear option. Like, how do you sell... Like, what benefits of ad clear do they have compared to just using weapons? Both Stormcaller and Prismatic, we want to increase the usability of Lightning Surge. So what they're doing is adding 50% damage resistance versus Titan barricades during the lunge. Casting Lightning Surge now makes you amplified. Neat. Hellfire Spike for Hunter Prismatic. Added projectile tracking and aim assist to increase consistency in hitting targets. Thank you, because this sucks. It has its moments where it's good, but it's ultimately just bad. Threaded Spectre, and they nerfed it, and it impacted PvE. Now they're buffing it in PvE. Swarmnade, also, I guess you can shoot him in PvP, so this is more PvP. On PvE side, I think it's a general nerf, but also non-nerf. They're giving this the Strand Titan treatment with how they did with Banner War. Now you're rescaling healing from a flat 80 to 180, 60, 40 per kill on stack. So you can actually get more, which is kind of how it was with Banner of War. You can get like a higher uptime. You can get more out of it, but you have to work for it, which I think is fair. No longer clears health and shield stun on kill. So if someone shoots you, it no longer immediately heals you or ignores it. I think that's what that means. So you can't just run up and take hits anymore. You have to actually take time. I don't know if that's the case. If it doesn't immediately heal you, or if you take any damage while you're punching stuff, then it almost kills it immediately. I will, as someone who uses it quite often, I will have to play with it just to see. Like, I have no real opinion. I have to see it instead of just reading about it. But I knew there's something about that kit was going to get nerfed, like, or rebalanced. Wrapping up, we are going to make sure Bungie's going to make sure they take the time to sell you more crap. They want you not to forget, hey, we're still trying to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Bungie. Give us your money. Hey, this is limited time. You want to give us your $50. Listen, this is a great celebration. We put a lot of effort into coating those chests in the game, in the Pale Heart, in the tower. We put a lot of effort into that. We did it for you guys, okay? We celebrate. Now you give us your money, okay? You owe us $50. Make sure you buy it. And then we got actual artwork. That looks cool. I'm sorry, but that looks really freaking cool. That's dope. And a lot of stuff that I don't give a crap about. That's cool. And that's it. That's it. I just thought it was really funny because a lot of people just do not like this change. I think this is the biggest L. There's a lot of W's, by the way. I just want to say there's a lot of W's in this week, but it is so hard to get hyped when you have crap like this that is just anti-gamer. It makes me not care about the changes because actively I know what I'm going to have to do next episode, and I'm gonna have to grind crap that I don't want to grind. I just want to play the game. I get a whole new expansion, and we have new missions and a new like big raid. Like that makes sense, but we're talking about episodes, and they're really what am I grinding levels for? To be able to go around Mars next and collect XYZ, and I need to be 10 levels over to talk to Marosov for the 30th time at the computer. Like what are we talking? Why? It's just obviously filler. That's it. It's not pro gamer. There's no reason. There's not a single reason. Not a single benefit to the player. Endgame players didn't ask for this. I don't know. A damn in-game player is like, man, I really love grinding levels. It's the funnest thing I've ever done, man. It's so I want to be able to post on Twitter that I was the world's first at getting the level cap. I'm putting it on Twitter so everyone can, if you can, make sure that your moms send me pictures of what they look like, because I'm hot stuff. Thank you. Okay, being facetious and over with. That is your news for this week in Destiny. Massive L, but some pretty big W's. Overall, I think was a W. But man, that L, man, I think people will see this and immediately just turn off the rest of it. I'm gonna be honest. You see this massive L, like, hey, we completely ignored you guys. We think we know what you want. We're not actually listening to you guys, even though years of it. And the fact that we made the change because in regard to your feedback, and we said back then we were listening to you, but now we think you guys don't want that. Go fuck yourself, Bungie. Have a good one. I'm out.